Hey everybody, in today's photo critique I've got 10 pictures from Bradley and it's gonna be a mixture between landscapes and also some street photos. So I've imported all of the pictures into Lightroom and I really think that's the best way to do it, and I'm also gonna keep doing that as long as you allow the download, because that way I can show you the editing, I can show you the cropping, and I think it's overall much more helpful as well as much more interesting to actually watch. So let's get started here with the first picture. A concert picture, not really something I'm familiar with, but in terms of the overall picture, there are some elements that I don't really think add to the photo, such as this microphone towards the left, and some of these things down here, as well as this light maybe. So you could try to crop it, but then it might be a little bit too close to the back. So I'm not really sure. I do like, the composition with this guy on the piano in the front, and she is just kind of looking at him. So I think that's a really good combo. It makes it interesting. But at the end, I really think you could have zoomed in a bit more and, change the angle, make a bit more space, and make everything a bit more simplistic. But that said, I do like the editing, very simplistic, and I do like the light and shadows as well. Then the next picture is actually a pretty interesting one. These are 3 pictures in one. Now, for my personal style, I would just make them separately and, upload them separately. Or if you want to print them, also print them separately and then just hang them on the wall together. But it's definitely, if that's your style, then go with it. And let's just go through all of these pictures individually. I definitely think this one has a very simplistic, nature, and there's a very simplistic texture to it, but it does work. Beautiful colors, beautiful lighting, also like the very desaturated look on all of these pictures. Then this one right here, very beautiful, very simplistic once again. And the last one also works very well. So I think you really have chosen 3 very good pictures to work together in one photo. And I definitely like your editing style, very low contrast, very faded out. I think if you would just add saturation and contrast and whatever, it wouldn't really work for these types of images. So I definitely do like them. I think they're really, really cool. Then this one right here seems a bit more like a snapshot, and I definitely do not like these out of focus branches here in the foreground. And also, I'm not really sure what is so interesting about this picture, because there's so much going on, especially here towards the left, and another set of branches, some pots, this kind of teared down garden house. And I really think the main subject here is this person with the smoke above it. Might even go into black and white, but I'm not quite sure. But I would definitely crop it no matter what, because you really have way too much in your scene that doesn't add to the picture, but rather distracts. And yeah, even then, I'm not quite sure if this is that great of a picture. Maybe if you would play around with the lighting and really make it crazy, something like that, it might be a little bit better. But at the end, I have to say that I'm not a very big fan of this photo, and I really don't see too much interest in it. Then the next one. So once again, a very faded out, almost desaturated look, and I do think that works here. I might even make the whole picture a little bit darker, but at the end it's up to you. But I do like the overall editing style. It seems that you really have a very, desaturated, a little bit of a greenish tint sometimes, but overall a very discreet and almost cinematic kind of editing style, so I do like that. In terms of the overall picture, I would have loved to see a little bit more of this road, so you would have an even amount of fencing end of the road. But even then, or even without it, I think it does work. Might wanna crop it to something like this. Let's see. I'm not sure, it's definitely up to you, but I think I do like this a little bit better. You could even go into black and white, but at the end it's not really that big of a difference. And I think this little bit of color does help the overall photo. I think if I would have to edit it for myself, I would probably go for a look that would look something like this, and just add a little bit of light here on the actual road, so you really have an element that leads you into the photo. But at the end, of course, it's completely up to you, but I do like this picture quite a bit, even as it is right here. So then let's go to the next one. Very simplistic, very beautiful lighting, very antique and very mysterious. I would, however, get rid of these two things right there. Don't really add to the photo. And I get that you have a very, bright yet kind of contrasty style. Now, personally, I would make this overall scene just a little bit darker. Grab a graduated filter over the sky, add even more minus exposure, contrast, plus clarity, then add another one over the very top, make it even more dramatic, and kind of do the same thing with the foreground. Maybe even grab one towards the left and go a little bit into the plus exposure with minus clarity, and then grab another one over the right and go into the minus exposure. I know I'm completely changing up this picture right here, but I'm just trying to show you another way on how you could edit it. If you decide to do it at the end, is up to you. But I would definitely also add some dodge and burning, even if it's just very small amounts. But I think, at least for me, I do like this picture a little bit better. But at the end, I think it really works well with the composition, very simplistic, and the overall picture is really good. So this one right here, I'm not sure about this cropping. I think I would just crop it way tighter so you have more focus on the actual person, and might even add a little bit of saturation here. I mean, it's not the most interesting picture, even if it is like this. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, cool place. It seems that you really have some nice icebergs and whatever, but at the end, the picture itself doesn't really do a ton for me. Then this one right here, absolutely beautiful mood, beautiful colors once again, really desaturated once again. It seems to be a constant theme throughout your pictures. So I'm actually gonna say that this is my favorite picture of you so far, even though you have a picture like this, for example, which I do think works really well and I do like. This just has some magic about it, from the leading lines here to the house, to the desaturated colors, to the clouds, just everything works really well. But let me just try out something and make the whole thing even darker. Maybe grab an adjustment brush here, add a little bit of vignetting towards the left, and also add some dodge and burning with plus exposure, just here in the field a little bit. And see how that will look. Maybe another one just towards the house right here, and add some other minus exposure rail filters here, and another one maybe over there. I mean, it's up to you what you like better, but nevertheless, I think absolutely beautiful picture, absolutely amazing mood. And then we get to the street photography pictures. I believe this is New York. And here, I really don't like the fact that you stuck in color, because as I go here into black and white, you see there's so much more attention on the actual musician. And if I go back into color, it's really, you split the picture from the left being relatively gray, dark, not really as punchy, and the right having so much light, all of these traffic lights, the cars. I really think you divide the picture in a bad way, and with black and white, you not only not divide the picture, but you also have a lot more attention on the actual musician. So I definitely think that works a lot better. And in terms of the overall picture, I'm not sure. I think I would have gone a bit more towards the right, show more of his actual face, and less of these traffic lights in the background, but I do actually like it. It has a certain atmosphere to it. So yeah, let's go to the next one here. This seems a little bit more like a snapshot to me. I don't really like the fact that you have this taxi just a little bit out of focus, but not really. I think it would have worked better if you either would have chosen a very slow shutter speed so you really get some motion blur in the photo, or just increase the shutter speed so you froze it completely, but just like this, I don't really think it works all that well. And in terms of the overall picture, I don't think there's really anything interesting here, nothing that my eye goes to, nothing where my eye rests, and it really seems like a snapshot to me, so yeah, I don't like the picture here. And let's go to the last one. Once again, seems like a snapshot to me, maybe black and white. It's really interesting that you see the lighting scheme a lot more clear and a lot better in black and white. And I even notice it even more that these people on the left are just so dark and the right is so bright. So I'm not quite sure if you like that look, but I would definitely go for a lot brighter faces so you actually see the people. But even then, I'm not quite sure if it will work. Maybe if you go minus contrast, bring up the blacks, and even bring down the clarity. Let's go back into color. I think you could maybe do kind of a cinematic look by going into the green tint, into the blue temperature, and maybe even make the whole thing a little bit darker, increase the highlights, and decrease the shadows, and maybe even go with a cinematic crop, like 2.65 to 1 is kind of the cinematic format. So I mean, at the end, I still think the picture isn't really up to much, but I do like it a little bit better than how it was at the start. So these were your 10 pictures, and I would have to say that this, and these 3 ones right here are definitely your strongest. They just work throughout, and they're really interesting, and just everything works about them. But you have some other pictures that are also cool, and you definitely have some potential in them. I hope you found some of these edits helpful, and maybe you look at the pictures from kind of another perspective. But at the end, if you would like to submit your own pictures, then as always, be sure to check out the link in the description, and there you will get all of the information on how you can do that. But until next episode, of course, don't forget to subscribe, and I hope you all have a great day. And why not make your day even better by creating your own professional photography portfolio so you can share your pictures in a stylish and professional way? SmugMug offers dozens of beautiful templates while still being 100% customizable, unlimited storage on any plan, excellent 24/7 customer support, and all of this starts from as low as $3 a month. So if you would like to learn more and get your 14-day free trial, then be sure to check out the link in the description and you can start to build your own website today.